Hello everyone, this is part 5 of What If Naruto Was the God of Fuinjutsu, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Sasuke looked at Naruto with fear in his eyes as an image of a giant nine-tailed fox appeared behind him. What is he? Sasuke was actually starting to shake out of fear from the power coming off of Naruto. What are you? There is no way a normal person, especially you, should have this kind of power. Naruto chuckled and looked at Sasuke with his silted eyes in a sad gaze. Who said I was normal? Naruto vanished and reappeared beside Sasuke. Sasuke turned and before he could react he was kicked into the trees. The trees fell on top of where Sasuke was kicked to, but before the trees could fall all the way Sasuke managed to jump out of the tree's path. Sasuke looked up just in time to dodge a punch from Naruto. Sasuke rolled out of Naruto's reach before throwing a kunai with an explosive tag attached to it. Naruto watched as the tag fizzled then exploded in a giant fireball. Sasuke scanned the area with narrowed eyes trying to pick up the slightest movement from the fire, but that was when movement to his left got his attention. When Sasuke turned he saw Naruto looking at him with a confused look on his face. That could have killed me if I didn't dodge. Naruto looked and saw Sasuke's hand clench. What is wrong with you, Sasuke? Ever since we returned from Wave you've been getting angrier and angrier at me. You want to know why? Sasuke once again had that dark tone in his voice. Because you did nothing. This confused Naruto as he looked at Sasuke. You came from a clan that no one ever heard of, and as soon as you step foot in that place you're the talk of the town. You did absolutely nothing before the event on the bridge, but even then you would have died if it wasn't for me. Naruto looked and saw Sasuke's Sharingan began to expand and a third Tomo appeared. But you know what those pathetic villagers did? They gave you all the credit. Sasuke, you know that's not true. Naruto said this trying to reason with his friend. The people of Wave gave us all equal credit. Really, Naruto? Sasuke yelled this out, making Naruto flinch slightly. Did they make us any nifty little cloaks or gifts? But I guess it fits you to have such old and stupid relics from some forgotten clan. Naruto's eyes hardened a little at that. This guards used to belong to an old family member. Naruto looked at Sasuke as he popped his neck. So I ask you not to insult my family again, Sasuke. Sasuke smirked a little. Or what? Sasuke said with sarcasm in his voice. What are you going to do? You may be strong, Naruto, but you are still from a nobody clan. Everyone has heard of the Uchiha clan and they both respect and fear us. Or what is left of you? Naruto said this without thinking and almost immediately Sasuke's entire demeanor changed. He got a cold air around him like he was trying to freeze the very atmosphere with his anger. I am an Uchiha, I am the elite of Konoha, and there is no way a nobody like you can beat me. Sasuke said this and dropped into a fighting stance. That is where you're wrong, Sasuke, I'm not a nobody. Naruto just stood his ground and frowned at Sasuke. I am Naruto Uzumaki, the last surviving member of a great clan. I am far from being a nobody. Sasuke just charged with anger in his eyes. Naruto left the ground in a swirl of dust and rock as he ran at Sasuke, but just as he threw a punch Sasuke ducked and delivered his own punch to Naruto's stomach. Naruto was then kicked in the head forcing him to jump backwards to avoid Sasuke. Before the third Tomo appeared he couldn't keep up, but now I can't land a hit on him. That was when Naruto heard a deep growl in his head. Would you like some more power, brat? Kyuubi growled this out with sarcasm in his voice. No, I don't trust you, besides I can handle the situation. Naruto heard Kyuubi laugh before he ran at Sasuke. Naruto threw a shuriken at Sasuke who easily dodged the spinning blade, but he was forced to duck under a kick from Naruto. Naruto spun in midair and dropped his leg in an axe kick aimed at Sasuke's head. Sasuke jumped backwards and spat out a giant fireball that consumed Naruto. Sasuke smirked as everyone watched as the fire began to spread. That was when movement caught everyone's attention. Naruto jumped out of the flames, his shirt was burnt until it was only holding on by one sleeve, revealing a bandaged torso. Naruto cursed and bit both of his thumbs while using Kyuubi's remaining chakra. Naruto slid across the ground and slammed both of his palms against the ground. Kuchio's no jutsu. Everyone in the stadium rose to their seats after the Kyuubi's container uttered those words. Naruto was covered in smoke and Sasuke brought his hands up to defend against whatever Naruto did, but when the smoke cleared he nearly laughed. On both Naruto's shoulder were two toads, one was yellow and the other was a reddish-orange. Yeah, Gamatatsu. Naruto smiled at the yellow toad who smiled back. Yeah, Gamakichi. The red-looking toad was cleaning his ear with his finger, but nodded to say he was listening. So this is your big comeback. Sasuke chuckled at Naruto. A pair of idiotic toads, please don't insult the power of an Uchiha. Gamatatsu looked visible hurt while Gamakichi glared at Sasuke. Let me at him. Gamakichi leaped towards Sasuke only to be stopped by Naruto. I will, but we need to work together. That is when Gamatatsu spoke. What's the point? Naruto looked at Gamatatsu who looked sad. What he said was true, Gamakichi and me can't do anything to help you. So why did you summon us when you could have summoned our father? Because I believe we can beat him together. Naruto smiled at Gamatatsu. Besides, I don't think your father would be too happy being summoned in such a cramped area. Gamatatsu chuckled at that. I'll take you both out for snacks after this is over, deal. The brothers nodded and looked towards Sasuke who was smirking at the three. I hope you're ready to lose, Naruto. Sasuke charged at Naruto who held out his hands for the toads. Nope, we're ready to win. Naruto threw Gamatatsu and Gamakichi into the air while he charged at Sasuke. Naruto threw a punch that Sasuke blocked just as he threw his own punch. Naruto ducked under and tried to deliver a kick to Sasuke's stomach only for Sasuke to catch it and throw Naruto. Naruto used momentum to turn himself in the air and land on his feet, but when he landed he saw Sasuke with a kunai ready to plunge it into his chest. You lose. Sasuke made to kill Naruto, but Naruto smiled. Now Gamatatsu. Sasuke's eyes widened when he turned and saw the yellow toad spit out a large glop of oil. The oil hit the ground between Naruto and Sasuke, but Sasuke was already putting his foot down. Sasuke slipped and was about to fall when Naruto punched him in the stomach, sending him backwards. Gamakichi appeared once more in front of Sasuke and spat some oil on him. Sasuke made to grab Gamakichi when Naruto kicked him in the chest, sending him backwards once more. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Sasuke stood up more angry than ever. I'm winning. Sasuke's eyes widened when the two toads placed their hands together. Kaiten, Sokisha, flanking fire. The two toads spat out a fireball each, but they didn't go straight. The fire arced and went to the left and right side of Sasuke. Sasuke looked at both of the fireballs and Naruto who was just waiting with a kunai. Fuck. Sasuke snarled in his mind as he placed his hands together. The fire hit Sasuke's oiled body and it resulted in a pillar of flame that made everyone back away. Naruto, we're not like our dad, we don't have a lot of chakra. Gamakichi said, making Naruto look at the two toads, seeing them tired. We need to go, but don't forget that you owe us a snack. Naruto nodded head and looked at the fire slowly die out, revealing Sasuke laying on the ground with burns all over his body. Naruto was about to approach when he was roughly kicked in the back, sending him forwards, hitting the ground with a thud. Naruto looked up and saw Sasuke smirking at him, but was clearly tired. How? Sasuke just smirked even bigger. You've been using that cage bunshin around me long enough for my Sharingan to pick it up. Naruto's eyes widened as he realized what Sasuke meant. You copied my cage bunshin. Naruto stood while the remaining sleeve fell off, revealing his entire torso was bandaged up. Do you know how dangerous that is? Sasuke shrugged like he didn't care and just continued to smirk. I see you still have a trick up your sleeve. Sasuke just watched as Naruto gritted his teeth from the mild pain from standing up. But it won't be enough to stop me. Naruto just glared at Sasuke. I didn't make this seal for you. Naruto stood up and looked at his right hand. I can only do this once. Naruto looked at Sasuke while he held his right arm up, palm out. Sasuke just smiled as he began to charge up his second Chidori. Fuinjutsu, Tenran. The funnel of wind blasted its way towards Sasuke, who just smirked and charged, not thinking. You can't beat me with such a pathetic jutsu. Sasuke had a very evil gleam in his eye that made Naruto a little worried for his friend, but he knew he had no choice. I didn't plan on it. Naruto threw a red tag in front of him that made Sasuke wide-eyed. Fuinjutsu, Shokyaku. Instead of sending a jet of flame forward, the seal just exploded, but thanks to Tenran the fireball soon became an inferno that headed straight towards Sasuke. Naruto could only see the wave of fire, and just as he lowered his arm, Sasuke suddenly appeared with his right arm burnt a little. Die. Sasuke thrust his Chidori and nailed Naruto in the chest. Blood started to roll out of the blonde's mouth, but what scared everyone was the fact Naruto was smiling. I told you that you couldn't beat me like that. Suddenly Naruto began to laugh. And I told you I didn't plan on it. Suddenly Naruto exploded in a giant smoke cloud. Sasuke turned around just in time for Naruto to deliver a brutal chakra-laced punch to his face that sent the Uchiha backwards. Naruto was breathing hard, but was still able to stay on his feet. Sasuke on the hand was a different story. After the punch he was disorientated and having the worst headache he could ever had, but thanks to his second Chidori his chakra supply was near depleted, and this only added to the fact he could barely move. When did you switch? Sasuke mumbled out with a pain-filled face. While you were busy dealing with my little wall of fire. Naruto gently sat down and looked at Sasuke. You can't continue, you know that. Shut up. Sasuke tried to move and only managed sit up. I am an Uchiha, that means I'm the best in this village. Naruto just shook his head and stood up on wobbling legs. Just because you carry a special last name doesn't make you the best. Sasuke glared up at him. You have to continue training to get better. It doesn't matter if you have a special skill, the only thing that matters is what you do with it. A master with a pebble can beat a novice with a shuriken. Remember that, Sasuke. Sasuke still wasn't ready to give up just yet. I don't care, you are a nobody who doesn't even deserve to be called Chunin. Naruto looked at Sasuke with surprise as Sasuke continued. Do you honestly believe that becoming Chunin will make them like you? You are a fool. I notice the way they look at you with nothing more than utter loathing in their eyes. Do you think this village will ever give a shit about you? Naruto looked at the ground with a distant look in his eyes. It doesn't matter anymore, Naruto said, surprising Sasuke and the people in the arena. Because I have people who care about me. Even if the village doesn't love me, I have people who do. Naruto turned around just as Sasuke collapsed with a grunt. Winner Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto looked around and saw nothing, but shocked looks and a few smiles. No one cheered, still shocked at what they saw, but that was when Naruto noticed someone standing up clapping. She wore a black hood that had a crescent moon with a sword going through it and a chain wrapped around it. Naruto looked around and noticed that everything seemed to have froze in place. The birds in the air stopped moving, and even people who were talking seemed to have been stuck in mid-sentence. Very good, Uzumaki. She said this as she jumped from her position on the stands to the floor in one graceful move. You certainly have a lot of power behind you. Who are you? Naruto demanded as he got into a fighting stance. The woman seemed puzzled by this, but from what Naruto could see she was smiling. Well, people call me Enmatsuki, Devil Moon. Enmatsuki kept her smile plastered even with Naruto glaring at her. Now I'm not here to hurt you, I'm here to warn you. This made Naruto relax his stance for a second. Warn me? Naruto asked, confused. Warn me of what? Did you truly believe people wouldn't take notice of a boy whose name is Uzumaki and is skilled in Fuinjutsu? Enmatsuki just watched as Naruto seemed to be getting what he was saying. A certain man is trying to gather up his forces to kill you and anyone who is associated with you. But why? Naruto completely let down his guard, too busy listening to this woman with intent. Because of who you are. Enmatsuki looked up at the sky and smiled. But sadly it is not my place to tell you, but make no mistake. War is coming with all its glory and all its horror. So I suggest you be prepared for it. Suddenly Naruto opened his eyes and looked around to see no one in front of him, but Genma, who was shaking him. You okay? You looked like you zoned out for a minute there. Genma watched as Naruto nodded his head and looked up to the stands to see a black cloaked figure leaving the stadium, but before Naruto could go after him, a white feathers began to fall on the stands, followed by a giant explosion. We're under attack. A shinobi shouted this out while every other ninja pulled out their weapons. Enmatsuki's words rang in Naruto's head. Make no mistake. War is coming with all its glory and all its horror. Naruto looked as the scene around quickly became a battlefield. Is this what he meant? XXX. Kumogakur. We have no choice, we need to act now. A council member screamed out. If what Senji said is true, then if this Uzumaki tells Konoha that we had a hand in the genocide of the Uzumaki clan, then they might want to attack us, but even if they don't, the Uzumaki might take matters into his own hands. The council nodded their heads, but when they looked at the wreckage they saw concern on his face. What's wrong, Rakage-sama? One councilman said as he watched E raise his head with worry in his eyes. What if Senji is telling a lie? When the words left E's mouth, everyone looked at each other in surprise. I mean, he may have helped us in the past, but we have to remember what his subordinate tried to do. Yes, we all remember that brute he tried to take over Kumo. The council room got quiet as they remembered the day. But that doesn't mean the same thing is going to happen again. And what if the Uzumaki doesn't know about our involvement? E said this as he looked at the council around him. We left no evidence behind to even lead Konoha or a surviving Uzumaki back to us. But what if we missed something? A white-haired councilman said this as he leaned forward. If we missed a single piece behind, it could have a horrible result for us. E leaned back into his chair and sighed. So are we ready to make the vote? E said as he looked at the council and watched them nod. Alright then, let the voting begin. XXX. Naruto was dashing through the forest with Shikamaru, Shino, and Sakura chasing after the Sand siblings. What could they be up to out here? Shikamaru began going through various possibilities when a noise behind him caught his attention. Great, were being followed. Shikamaru stopped on a branch, which made everyone stop. What's wrong, Shikamaru? Sakura called out, which made Shikamaru sigh. We're being followed, Shikamaru said plainly. Someone is going to have to stay behind and handle things here. Everyone looked at one another. I'll do it. Everyone looked and saw Sakura looking down at the ground with a sad expression. Out of everyone here, I can benefit more being here than up there. I'll hold them off and you guys go on ahead. Naruto opened his mouth to protest, but Sakura beat him to it. I don't care what you say, Naruto, I'm staying. Naruto closed his mouth and smiled as he pulled out 3 kunai with seals on them. He handed them to Sakura, who looked at him as he created 3 cage buncheons. Where does he get all this energy from? You guys stay here and help Sakura out. The buncheons nodded and walked over to Sakura. The kunais are made to shoot my horn seal to ensnare and trap the opponent, but use it wisely, it will only last for 4 seconds. Naruto turned to leave, but looked back and a worried look. Be careful. Sakura nodded and watched as the group jumped towards the direction the Sand siblings went. That was when Sakura let worry flood into her face. I'm so dead. The clones looked at her and shook their heads. No, you're going to be fine. One of them said as he patted Sakura's back. We just need to set up a trap. The clones nodded and jumped to other trees and began to place explosive tags on the trunks. Now remember to use those to restrain them to allow the trees to take them out. Sakura looked thoughtful for a few minutes until she snapped her fingers. I have an even better idea. The clone leaned forward and listened to what Sakura had planned. XXX. The sound group ran through the woods until they saw a blonde kid standing in front of them with his arms crossed. Hello, Naruto's clone said politely. That's the kid from the Chunin exams, thought the leader as his group stopped. Now what are people like you doing in a place like this? Naruto said with smile. The sound nin just smiled, but kept the guard up. Look kid, we're in a hurry, so if you step aside and there won't be any trouble. The leader said. Well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to deal with me first. The clone lowered his arms and got into a fighting stance. Alright fine kid, you asked for. The leader stopped when movement caught his eye. He turned to his left and saw another Naruto, but when he looked the other way he saw another one. Shit, a trap. The clones were holding a kunai each, but before they could stab the leader they were stabbed in the head by 2 thrown kunais, destroying them. The leader smiled, but that stopped when Naruto threw his kunai, which the leader dodged and threw his own, hitting Naruto in the chest. You should have known better than to take on a jonin. The leader boasted, but the 2 stopped when Naruto began to laugh. What is so damn funny? Because I wasn't aiming for you. The clone raised his hand in a tiger seal. The sound nins looked and saw the kunai begin to glow, and before they could react, orange tendrils shot out and wrapped around the group. Now Sakura. The clone screamed out before disappearing in a puff of smoke. The group heard a crack and turned to see tiny explosive seals floating down towards them. Alright, here we go. Sakura threw a kunai with an explosive tag at them. The kunai exploded, which resulted in the tiny explosive tags exploding. Sakura watched as the area was turned into a dome of fire. I did it. Sakura was happy until she heard a noise from inside the fire. She turned and saw that she only managed to hurt the nins severely. Some of them had burns all over their bodies and they were bleeding. You're going to pay for that, bitch. The leader growled out as the horn wore off. The group tried to make their way over when a swirl of leaves caught their attention. Sakura turned around and saw Asuma standing behind her with a sound nin on his shoulder. I don't think you're in a position to do anything, Asuma said as he dropped the man on his side and pulled out his trench knives. XXX. Naruto's eyes narrowed as the clone's memories flooded into his, making him look back towards Sakura. Please be okay, Sakura. Naruto turned around just in time to see a puppet charging at him. Naruto ducked at the last second and landed on a tree, looking up to see the puppet retreat back to the user. Kankuro was looking the group with a vague sneer in his face. This is as far as you three go. Kankuro said this with determination as he pulled his puppet closer to him. Then I guess we'll just have to go through you then. Naruto said this as he gripped his left arm and brought his shuriken, but was stopped when Shikamaru stepped in front of him. This is so troublesome, but we have no choice. Shikamaru yawned and looked at Naruto with bored eyes. Go'll hold him off. What are talking about if we stay together? Then the enemy ahead of us will have enough time to finish whatever they have planned. Shikamaru began to stretch his muscles as he moaned as he felt his bones pop. Besides that, Temari girl already knows what I'll do if we fight again. This is the best option I can come up with without all of us staying behind. Naruto opened his mouth, but closed, realizing that Shikamaru was right. Naruto reached behind him to pull out something for Shikamaru, but he stopped him. Don't, you'll need all the help you can get up ahead. Shikamaru just watched as Naruto nodded his head, but didn't look too happy about this situation, but just when Shikamaru turned around, Naruto slipped a seal into his pocket. Just don't die on us, Shikamaru. Shikamaru nodded his head and turned to face Kankuro. Naruto and Shino both jumped towards the direction that the other Sand siblings went. Do you think the others will be okay, Shino? All we can do is hope that they can win their respective fights. Naruto's eyebrows dropped a little and he frowned. That doesn't really answer my question. Shino looked at Naruto and Naruto quickly shut his mouth. I wonder if I went down the wrong path, would I ended up like you, Gaara? Naruto thought as he continued forward. Naruto was not happy at the moment. The three people he came into the forest with were now gone. Sakura stayed behind with some of his clones to hold off some sound nins. Shikamaru is fighting Kankuro at the moment, and not just a few seconds ago Shino said he would hold off Temari. I'll have to beat Gaara quickly and get back to the others. Naruto hit the next branch and when he jumped he snapped it in two as he began to pick up speed. Naruto began to see some sand and knew he was close to Gaara. Just then a wave of sand tried to catch Naruto, but he created Cage Bunshin, who grabbed his arm and swung him to a nearby tree. Naruto turned and watched as the clone was consumed by the sand and crushed. Naruto flinched as he almost felt what the clone felt. He looked towards the source of the attack and saw something that would give him a nightmare for days. Gaara looked like something that came out of the darkest nightmare. Half of his body was covered in sand, making him look deformed. Uzumaki, I was waiting for this moment. Gaara crouched as his single tail swung behind him. Naruto readied himself just as Gaara jumped from the tree branch and went after Naruto. XXX. Shikamaru was currently hiding behind a tree while Kankuro's puppet was hovering in the middle like a phantom trying to find him. This is so troublesome. Shikamaru thought this as he looked up at the sky with bored eyes. I just wanted to marry a girl who wasn't super pretty or super ugly. Have two kids, a boy then a girl, retire when my son becomes a ninja and my daughter marries, but I guess life is too troublesome for that. Shikamaru stood up, but then stopped when he heard the puppet clanking right next to him. Shikamaru ducked just in time to avoid a blade from giving him a close shave. You think you can run from me? Kankuro called out as he pulled his fingers and sent his puppet after Shikamaru. Shikamaru looked back and saw the puppet aim one of his arms at him, which then went back on a hinge and revealed a hole in the puppet's arm. Shikamaru's eyes widened when the puppet shot a black sphere at him. Poison. Shikamaru thought as the sphere exploded and surrounded Shikamaru in a black cloud of poison. There is no way he can survive that poison cloud, Kankuro said with a laugh, but was forced to dodge when three kunai came sailing at him. Kankuro jumped and landed on another tree and looked to see Shikamaru attached to a tree above the poison with ninja wire wrapped around his left hand. That is correct, I wouldn't have been able to survive that poison, but nothing said I couldn't dodge it. Kankuro gritted his teeth and twitched two of his fingers and his puppet fired off a barrage of senbon. Shikamaru let go of his ninja wire and jumped out of the attack's way, but all the while Shikamaru kept a close eye on both the puppet, but mostly the puppet master. If I can figure out the finger movements, then I can figure out when I need to dodge. Shikamaru thought to himself as he dodged the puppet once again, barely getting out of the way of a poisoned kunai. I can't allow Kankuro out of my sight. Shikamaru at that moment saw that Kankuro had vanished, making the Nara curse. Stupid fool, he didn't think I knew he was trying to figure out my puppet's movements. Kankuro thought this from his hiding place under a bush. He is a fool if he thinks he can do that by watching me. Shikamaru began to think through his different ideas as he tried to avoid being stabbed by the puppet. I need to find a way to find him. Shikamaru continued to dodge until he managed to jump behind a tree and throw a smoke bomb to hide himself. He has to have a good enough view to see me, but it also has to be well hidden so I don't see him. Shikamaru took out what little ninja gear he had left and glared at it. Damn, I told him that he would need all the help when he got to Gaara. All well, it's too troublesome to stay mad at him, but I might as well get this over with. Shikamaru stood up and prepared to put his plan into, ran out from behind the tree he was behind while he threw a flash bomb into the air, blinding the entire area with a bright flash. Kankuro blocked, saw the bright light and nearly fell out of the tree, which gave Shikamaru his location because of the leaves falling. Found him. But just as Shikamaru turned and ran at him, the puppet appeared in front of Shikamaru and stabbed him in the stomach with a poison-tipped blade. Blood began to drip down Shikamaru's lip as Kankuro slowly came out of hiding with a smile on his face. And that is why you should have never messed with them. Kankuro stopped talking as he felt his body grow stiff. What the hell? Kakuro looked and saw that Shikamaru was smiling with his fingers together in a rat seal. Kankuro looked at the ground and saw a shadow line that attached to him. I knew that if your puppet got me, you would come out. Shikamaru managed to breath out as he twitched his fingers and had the puppet slowly back away, surprising Kankuro. The puppet fell out of the trees and crashed to the ground with force. Shikamaru began to walk over to Kankuro and Kankuro did the same. When Shikamaru got within arm's reach of Kankuro, he pulled out the seal Naruto gave him. Whatever this thing is, I won't make it through today. The poison is spreading faster than I anticipated. Shikamaru brought the tag up and placed it on Kankuro's chest. Suddenly the seal began to glow bright blue. Shikamaru had his shadow detach from Kankuro's as he collapsed along with Kankuro. Damn, this is a chakra seal. Kankuro said as he tried to reach for the seal, but could barely move his arm. At least you're still going to die here, Nara. He looked and saw Shikamaru just looking up at the clouds with a bored expression. Right as Shikamaru was about to respond, a footstep could be heard on the branch with them. The two looked and saw a woman with a black cloak with a moon with a chain wrapped around it and a sword going through it. I don't think he is going to die just yet. Enmatsuki said this as she picked the Nara up carefully while looking at Kankuro. I would suggest you get out of here before someone stumbles on you. With that, the stranger jumped off the branch, leaving Kankuro behind. Shikamaru looked at the woman carrying him with a little suspicion. Where are you taking me? Shikamaru asked as he tried to move. I'm going to take you where a Konoha ninja can find you. Enmatsuki continued to jump from branch to branch until she stopped. Looks like I won't need to go far. Shikamaru was confused as she laid him down. Someone is coming and the speed they're going, I could summarize that they're friendly. As if out of the blue, Shikamaru turned and saw two ninjas heading the direction with Konoha headbands on their heads. Shikamaru turned around to say something to, but he saw that she wasn't there. Hey, isn't that the Nara heir? One of the Konoha nins said as he landed on the branch with his teammate. Yeah, it is, the girl said as she placed her hands on his chest. A green glow began to irradiate from her hands. He's been poisoned, we need to get him to Shibi or his father right away. The man nodded his head and the two turned back to the village, abandoning the order to search for enemy ninja in the forest. Right before he succumbed to the darkness, Shikamaru thought one last thing. How troublesome. XXX. Shino was having trouble dealing with the wind using Temari. Every time his insects tried to get close, she would blow them all away with a gust of wind. There is no way you or your bugs are getting anywhere next to me. Temari swung her fan again and destroyed the tree Shino was hiding behind, blasting him forward. Shino turned his body around and saw Temari swing her fan, sending a wave of sharpened wind blades at Shino. Shino jumped onto the closest tree to dodge the attack. I need to conceal my bugs or lure her into a trap. Shino began to jump from tree to tree and watched as Temari kept on swinging her fan, cutting the trees down. What is he up to? Temari thought, but decided to blast the tree Shino was going to land on next, sending the bug user plummeting to the ground. Temari looked at the area Shino fell at and was forced to step back when he jumped out of the trees towards her. Temari swung her fan and sent a single wind blade at him. Shino was cut straight in two, but he simply fell apart as his body turned into bugs. Temari's eyes widened as she looked to her left and saw Shino, but when she looked to her right she saw the ground begin to crawl towards her. You now have a choice. Shino said, this getting Temari's attention. You can take me out or take my bugs, either way you're going to lose here. Temari gritted her teeth and glared at the Shino, but then smiled. I guess I'll choose you. Temari swung her fan, ripping chunks of earth out of the ground while the blades of wind gut Shino to pieces, but to Temari's surprise Shino just turned into bugs once again. Temari turned around and saw the bug army was almost at her feet, but when she went to jump she was shoved into the bugs. When she looked up she saw Shino staring right back at her. Temari glared at him and with what little bit of her chakra left she swung her fan, catching Shino in the side with a wind-infused fan. Shino was slammed into a tree while he gritted his teeth in pain. He could feel that he had a broken rib or two, but he also had a nasty gash on his side. I guess I won't be moving on to help Naruto after all. Shino said this as he slowly laid down on a tree and felt his eyes grow heavy. XXX. Senji was waiting patiently in the Raikage's office when he returned in a burst of lightning, not even making the old man flinch. We have come to an impasse, he stated, and watched as Senji's hand tightened, but relaxed. I want to hear why you want this Uzumaki killed, but if I suspect you of lying I will kill you myself. Senji for just an instant glared at the Raikage, but relaxed once again. What could I gain from lying to you? He kept watching Senji, showing no emotion. I want to make sure I keep the people who helped me kill off the clan safe. If this Uzumaki tells the right people it could be very disastrous for you. I'm only doing this to help you, why would I lie? He smiled and this made Senji cautious as he slowly placed his hands together. The problem is that you subordinate that assisted us tried to kill me. He said and watched as Senji stood up. And he said the craziest thing, that you were the one who gave the order. He disappeared in a burst of lightning, making Senji narrow his eyes as the area he was standing on exploded from a lightning-charged punch from E. He jumped backwards and watched as the smoke and dust slowly vanished, but when it cleared that was when he got the shock of his life. Senji was an inch from the crater with not a single scratch on him. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, you stupid bastard. Senji lost any calm tone in his voice and it was replaced with anger. Suddenly out of the corner of the office an Anbu jumped out of the shadows with a sword, swinging it at the man's head. Senji, despite his old age, spun on his heel and dodged the blade, but just as the Anbu's head passed by, Senji reached forward and grabbed his head. I told you, Raikage, you just made the worst mistake of your pathetic life. I don't need your help to wipe out this nuisance, there are others who would be more than happy to help. He gave the Anbu's head a squeeze and the Anbu began to try and clutch at anything that he could use to get away, but almost instantly the man stopped moving and Senji released his grip. He was about to charge when Senji suddenly disappeared in a burst of smoke. He cursed, but when he looked at his fallen Anbu he saw something that would haunt him. The Anbu's mask fell off, revealing a head that looked like as someone beat his head in with a hammer. I need to double security and kill that man before it's too late. He thought as he glared at the spot he was just a few seconds ago. But I can't allow this Uzumaki a chance to tell anyone about our involvement. Sorry Uzumaki, but the moment I find out who you are you will be dead. He turned around and disappeared in a bolt of lightning. XXX. So I take it didn't go well. Senji glared at his assistant that managed to summon him over 4 miles away from Kumo. Shut up. The man immediately clamped his mouth shut. Change of plans, we need to find some help from some very special people. Tell everyone that we're going find a certain group of people who have black cloaks and red clouds called Akatsuki a little visit. Senji's eyes seemed to sparkle with a black fire. XXX. Naruto backflipped to dodge several spears made out of sand which embedded themselves into the trees. Damn, I can't get close to him. Naruto watched as more sand seemed to bond to Gaara's body. What's the matter Uzumaki, are you afraid of me? Gaara said this with an insane smile on his face as he sent sand-shaped shuriken at Naruto. Naruto summoned another clone that grabbed his arm and swung above the shuriken, but the clone ducked just in time to avoid the spinning sand. Gaara looked at the clone and Naruto just as both pulled out those familiar red tags. Fuinjutsu, Shokyaku. The two fire streams collided with Gaara's sand body and began to turn the sand into glass, but suddenly the sand around Gaara erupted into a sandstorm that blasted both Naruto and his clone away. You're going to have to do a lot better than that, Uzumaki. Gaara held his arm forward and Naruto was nearly swallowed by sand, but his clone wasn't as lucky. Damn it, I can't get close enough. Naruto looked back and saw Gaara smiling at him. But I can't give up. If I lose, then my home is going to be destroyed. Naruto placed his hands together. Suddenly, with a burst of chakra, 20 clones appeared around Naruto. Gaara's eyes went wide as he saw all the clones. Where does he get this power? Suddenly all the clones and Naruto charged at him. You will prove my existence, Naruto Uzumaki. Gaara began to suck in a lungful of air. Futon, Mugen Sajin Daitopper, Wind Release, Infinite Sand Cloud, Great Breakthrough. Gaara blew out a wave of wind combined with sand that blasted all of the clones to dust, but before the last clone died it smiled, confusing Gaara. Suddenly Gaara heard a sound behind him, and when he turned around to see what it was, he saw Naruto already in the process of stabbing a kunai into his back, but thanks to the sand armor it didn't penetrate that much. Gaara growled and swung his tail, catching Naruto in the chest, ripping his bandages on his chest right off and throwing him to a tree. You cannot beat me, Uzumaki. But Naruto just smiled at the beast before him and said one word. Boom. Gaara's eyes went wide as he was consumed in a giant fireball that destroyed 3 trees that were around him. Naruto slowly stood up and his bandages fell off, revealing a tattoo-looking seal that started on his chest and ended on his back. The seal had some sort of storm brewing in the front, and on his back it showed a fox-looking creature. Naruto watched as the smoke and rubble finally began to clear away, and that was when he saw Gaara still standing and very much pissed off. This is getting bad, I'm starting to run low on chakra. Gaara looked up at Naruto with rage in his eyes and gave off a roar. Suddenly Gaara was consumed by a pillar of sand that shot upwards, forcing Naruto to jump backwards. Naruto looked up and saw a sight that he swore he never wanted to see again. A giant raccoon dog-looking thing appeared with Gaara on his head. Ichibi no Shukaku, Kyubi said with an amused growl. So this is the first tail. Naruto said as he narrowed his eyes, but when he tried to move he found that sand was wrapped around his ankles. Shit. Naruto looked up and saw more sand falling towards him, ready to crush him. I have just one chance. Naruto bit his thumb and began to go through hand signs as fast as he could. Kuchio's no Jutsu. Naruto slammed his hand down just as the sand above him fell right on top of him. Suddenly, in a giant cloud of smoke, the sand was blasted away. Naruto, on the other hand, was on top of the smoke cloud with his legs bent and his arms resting on his knees. When the smoke cleared, Gaara saw a giant elderly toad was what Naruto summoned. What do you want, brat? Gamabunta growled this out as if he wasn't happy about being summoned. My sons told me what you had them do. Sorry, Gamabunta, but I couldn't summon you or I would have destroyed the stadium. Naruto said this with a smile as he looked down at the chief toad. But I need your help now. Gamabunta looked at the creature in front of him and narrowed his eyes. Shukaku, why would I want to get into a fight with him? Gamabunta stated this as he took his pipe out of his mouth. Naruto gritted his teeth. Because I really need your help here. Naruto said in an almost begging voice. But why should I fight for you? Gamabunta looked at Naruto. Because if you don't help me then Konoha will be destroyed, and I don't think you would want that. Naruto looked back at Gamabunta, who sighed. Fine, but the next time you summon me you better have sake. Gamabunta pulled his dagger out of its sheath just in time to see Gaara put his hands together in a tiger seal. Suddenly Gaara went limp, which made Gamabunta curse. Naruto was confused until he looked and saw Shukaku's eye begin to spin and change color. I'm free. Shukaku screamed this to the sky as he began to laugh like a maniac. Oh, goody, someone to slaughter. Shukaku reeled backwards while sucking in a massive amount of air. I'm going to jump. Gamabunta warned Naruto, who applied chakra to his feet and hands to stay on the toad. Futon, Renkuden, Wind Release, Drilling Air Bullet. Shukaku spat out a compressed sphere of wind at Gamabunta, who jumped over it. Gamabunta put his hands together. Suten, Tepidama, Water Release, Gunshot. Gamabunta spat out his own sphere, but instead of being wind it was water. Shukaku looked up and spat out his wind sphere, and when the two attacks connected, the area was drenched in the water. As Gamabunta landed on the ground, he took his dagger and slashed Shukaku's arm off with some difficulty. Damn, he's tough, I barely made that cut. Gamabunta thought to himself with a glare. Shukaku turned and faced Gamabunta with rage in his eyes. You fucking bastard, I'll kill you. Shukaku began to suck in more air, forcing Gamabunta to try and dodge his attacks. What should we do? Naruto shouted as he tried to stay on the moving toad's head. You need to wake up the medium. Gamabunta said as he dodged yet another bullet of air. The what? Naruto looked at Gamabunta, who let out a sigh. The kid on his head, wake him up. Gamabunta said as he saw Naruto smile with a glint in his eyes. Alright, just get me close enough. Naruto said as he began to draw on Kyuubi's chakra. Gamabunta nodded his head and began to charge at Shukaku while dodging his air bullets. Shukaku's eyes widened as he saw an image of a giant fox behind Naruto. When Gamabunta got close enough, Naruto jumped off his head with the added chakra, and before Shukaku's sand could stop him, Naruto delivered a punch to Gaara's head. No, I just got here. Shukaku screamed this out just as his body began to break apart. Gaara woke up and found himself falling out of the sky with Naruto with him. They landed on the ground with a loud thud, but the two surprisingly got up despite their injuries. How are you so strong? Gaara asked as he gathered what little bit of his chakra and made his sand come to him. Because I fight for everyone who was ever close to me. Naruto said this as he took out a kunai and slashed his hand open and smeared the blood on the seal. I know what it's like through Gaara, I've been in that dark and lonely place, but I'm telling you that fighting all by yourself is not true strength, fighting with others is. Naruto then put his hands together and began to concentrate. I only have 3 seconds, I better make them count. Suddenly the seal on Naruto's body began to glow and spread until Naruto's entire body seemed to shimmer like wind. Fuinjutsu, Makaze, storm caused by the devil's hand. Naruto charged at Gaara as the sand came at Naruto, but instead of moving out of the way, Naruto ran straight towards it. As soon as the sand came into contact with Naruto, it vanished, surprising Gaara, but before he could react, Naruto punched Gaara in the face, sending him skidding backwards. Gaara managed to stop himself from going any farther back and willed his sand to surround Naruto. Naruto looked around as he saw the seal begin to fade away. I have to end this, and now. Naruto watched as the sand came pelting at him with force. Suddenly the sand vanished once again. Gaara watched as Naruto disappeared and then reappeared in front of him, delivering a devastating kick to the side of Gaara's head that sent him smashing straight into a tree. Gaara fell to his back and was gasping for breath as blood dripped from his head. Gaara looked up and saw the seal begin to disappear, leaving behind a tired Naruto. How? Simple, my clan developed a special seal that allows us to manipulate the states of matter. Naruto said as he collapsed on the ground. In short, it allowed me to turn your sand into dust, but it only lasts for 3 seconds. I can tell you don't have anything left either, Gaara, but please don't live this life anymore, it will only bring sadness. At that, Naruto blacked out from exhaustion. Gaara looked at Naruto and held his hand towards the boy. What remained of his chakra was infused into the remainder of his sand that slowly crept towards the boy, ready to end his life, but that was when it stopped. Don't live that life, it will only bring sadness. Gaara began to shake his head, trying to get rid of Naruto's voice. His strength comes from the love of others, is that why he is strong? Love. Gaara lowered his hand and looked up at the sky as he slowly closed his eyes. Naruto slowly opened his eyes to see the white ceiling of the hospital, but when Naruto turned to his left, he saw Hinata with her head on his bed asleep and Jiraiya standing at the doorway with his arms crossed. So you're finally awake. Jiraiya smiled as Naruto nodded his head, but was still confused. What happened? Naruto asked as he rubbed his head, trying to get rid of the cobwebs blocking his memories. Jiraiya's face suddenly got a depressed look about it. We won the fight, but we lost some good men and women. Jiraiya looked at the ground and said the one thing that he knew would hit Naruto hard. Also, Sarutobi died in order to try and kill off the one who started this entire thing. Naruto's eyes were wide when he heard that Sarutobi died. That's not possible, the old man is too strong to be taken down that easily. Naruto looked at Jiraiya, but he still wouldn't met the Uzumaki's eyes. When is his funeral? That's just it, Naruto, you've been out for 3 days. Jiraiya stated, shocking Naruto. That seal you used nearly killed you. It not only drained your supply to a dangerous level, it drained a good chunk out of your other source as well. Jiraiya watched as Naruto gently reached up and grabbed his shoulder. I don't think it is safe to use that again, but before you interrupt, let me explain. That seal was meant for people who have a considerable amount of chakra, and don't get me wrong, you do have that, but what you don't have is control. I warned that seal I placed on you was a temporary fix, that you would still need more training to fix that problem, but you didn't listen, did you? Naruto looked away from Jiraiya's stern look. I had no choice. If I didn't do what I did, then the village might have been destroyed. Jiraiya heard a groan and looked to see Hinata moving around, threatened to wake up. I know, but every clan has a fall point, Naruto, and your clan's was their recklessness. Jiraiya said this as he walked forward and looked at Naruto with a sad expression. The Uzumaki were always quick to sacrifice themselves to save a few. Jiraiya looked and saw Naruto relaxing. But I do bear some bad news. Ever since you were brought here, the council has been trying to keep you here in the village until further notice, but I managed to convince them I need you for a mission of mine. Oh, and what's that? Naruto asked as he looked up at Jiraiya. We're going hunting for our next Hokage. Jiraiya smiled at Naruto and turned and walked to the door. I've already cleared you with the doctors. You have 2 hours to get up, get ready, and meet me at the gate. With that, Jiraiya left, leaving Naruto with Hinata. Naruto looked at Hinata and smiled softly as he stroked her hair. Hinata stirred slightly and looked up to see Naruto smiling down at her. Naruto. Hinata wrapped herself around Naruto and gave him a tight hug. I thought you weren't going to wake up. Naruto looked down and smiled as he hugged Hinata back. Sorry for making you worried, but it's going to take a lot more to take me down. Naruto joked, making Hinata laugh a little. Listen, Hinata, I have to go on a mission with my sensei for a few days. This made Hinata jerk her head back in surprise. What? But you're in no condition. Hinata looked shocked, but a smile from Naruto and him getting out of bed quickly silenced her worry. Actually, I feel fine. Naruto smiled as Hinata shook her head. One day you're going to run into something just as stubborn as you are. Hinata placed her hands on her hip just as Naruto gave her a quick kiss. But that is why you love me. Naruto said as Hinata blushed. Come on, I need to get out of here. Naruto grabbed Hinata's hand and the two of them began to leave before Naruto realized he was still in his hospital gown. XXX. Senji was in the woods walking around when he suddenly smiled. So instead of me finding you, you've found me. Senji turned around and saw Kakazu and Haiden standing a few feet away. We heard from our spies that you have people looking for us. Kakazu said, narrowing his eyes. Why? At this, Senji chuckled. Because I believe the Akatsuki and I can work together, because we have a common enemy. Senji watched as Hiden's hand rose towards his scythe while he smiled. Stop, Haiden, our orders are to bring him in to speak with our leader, but if he refuses we kill him. Kakazu looked at Senji, who only held out his hands with a smile. I'm all yours. This sent chills down both men's backs as Senji just continued to smile. XXX. Naruto said his finally goodbyes to Hinata and was now walking with Jiraiya with a determined look in his eyes, but before he got to the gate, Tenten managed to corner him and ask him about him to help with a seal she was trying to work out for her weapons. Naruto promised to give it a try when he came back. Naruto walked up to Jiraiya, who waited patiently for his student. So what am I going to learn now? Jiraiya looked at Naruto and sighed. I'm going to try and teach you one of the fourth Hokage's prized jutsu, the Rasengan. As soon as those words left Jiraiya's mouth, he saw a glint in Naruto's eyes that made him smile. He is little bit like Minato, always wanting to learn. Okay, so when do we begin? Naruto said this with an eager smile on his face. Well, we'll begin immediately, besides I can't have a weakling as an apprentice. Jiraiya knew this would bug Naruto and that was what he was after. Just you watch, Ero-sensei'll master this jutsu in no time at all. Naruto smiled as he saw Jiraiya glare at Naruto slightly. I told you to never call me that again. Jiraiya began to chase after Naruto, who decided he enjoyed life too much to get beaten to death and ran for the hills. XXX. Senji was blindfolded and Kakazu had his hands wrapped up to make sure he couldn't weave hand signs. All the while through, Senji had a smile and was humming a happy tune as if he wasn't afraid of anything. Suddenly Senji was stopped and the blindfold was removed to reveal a ghostly image of a spiky-haired man with a ripple pattern eyes. So I came all this way for a ghost image. Senji said this with some sarcasm in his voice. This is as far as you get to see me now speak. Pain said in a commanding voice. Alright, I'll just cut straight to the chase then. Senji said this with no sarcasm. I think we can help each other out. You see, I know that you're capturing Biju and you just so happen still need to catch the QB's host. Pain's eyes narrowed slightly. I'll help you capture what remains of your little collection if you promise that I can handle the QB's Jinchuriki alone. This surprised everyone in the area as they looked at the man as if he was insane. Why would I grant you that? Pain questioned as he looked at the man more closely. Because I know who he is and what he is capable of. Senji smiled bigger as he saw the leader's eyes shine with interest. I can have him to you in a few minutes if you promise that after I bring him to you that you kill him. Pain took a thoughtful look on his face as he looked at the man in front of him. I will consider this offer, but until then you will be held until further notice. Senji smiled as he was taken away from the area. Soon the Uzumaki clan will be history. Senji's eyes seemed to have developed some sort of dark flame that seemed to bore its way into your soul. And then there will be nobody to stop me. Senji began to chuckle at the thought as his smile got even bigger. XXX. Naruto was in the apartment that Jiraiya managed to rent for the day while he went to do research, leaving Naruto to finish his Rasengan training. So far Naruto made it to the final stage, surprising the sage, but was having trouble getting his chakra control. Suddenly someone began to knock on the door leading into the apartment Naruto was in. Ero-sensei wouldn't be back this soon. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he placed his hands together and created a clone. Naruto jerked his head to the door and hid behind a corner waiting with a kunai with an explosive tag. The clone opened the door and was greeted with two men looking down at him. Both of them were wearing black cloaks with red clouds, but they were different in their appearance. One looked like a shark with sharpened teeth and a sword behind his back wrapped up in bandages with a skull on the handle. The other one was a man with black hair, but that wasn't what caught Naruto's attention, it was his eyes. Naruto Uzumaki, you need to come with us. The Sharingan spun wildly in his eyes. Uchiha, but I thought the entire clan was wiped out. Naruto's clone said as he slowly backed up. Sadly, you thought wrong. Kisame suddenly reached forward and grabbed Naruto and slammed him into the wall behind him. Kisame, don't kill him, we need him alive. Kisame just looked at his teammate and smiled. Don't worry about it, I'm not going. Kisame stopped when he heard Naruto begin to laugh. I have a secret. Naruto whispered out. I'm not the real one. Suddenly the clone erupted into smoke, leaving two very surprised men who turned back to the room to see the real Naruto throwing a kunai with a tag at them. Itachi and Kisame were then consumed in a giant fireball that left a hole in the building, making people run out of their rooms to get to safety. Naruto took one last look at the smoke before making a run for the window, but before he could even reach the window frame he was hit in the stomach with Samehada, sending him backwards. Naruto hit the wall and slid down, breathing hard. What that felt like my chakra was sucked out of me. Naruto looked up at Kisame who was smiling down at him. My sword is able to consume chakra, brat. Kisame then began to reach for Naruto when Itachi spoke. Hello little brother, Itachi said while turning slowly towards Sasuke who was glaring holes through the man. I did what you asked brother, I've lived my life in hatred of you. Suddenly Sasuke's hand erupted into a lightning ball. Now I'm going to kill you. Sasuke charged with rage in his eyes. Sasuke, stop, you don't know what you're getting into. Naruto watched as his teammate ignored Naruto completely and continued on his course. Sasuke swung his arm trying to cleave Itachi in two, but in a blink of an eye Itachi's hand shot forward and grabbed Sasuke's wrist and twisted downwards, breaking it. Foolish little brother, you're still not strong enough to kill me. Itachi just watched as Sasuke tried to throw a punch, but Itachi applied a little more pressure onto his broke wrist, making Sasuke scream in pain. You don't interest me at the moment, it is Naruto I'm after. Sasuke looked at Naruto who was struggling to get to his feet. Sasuke gritted his teeth, but when he tried to attack Itachi he quickly pulled Sasuke forward before driving a kick into his stomach, sending him crashing into a wall. Itachi suddenly appeared in front of Sasuke and looked him in the eye. Sasuke suddenly began to scream before he fell into unconsciousness. Itachi was about to lay Sasuke down when the area they were in turned into flesh. Kuchios, Gamaguchi Shibari, summoning, Toad Mouth Bind. The group looked and saw Jiraiya smiling at Itachi and Kisame, but when Itachi turned back to Sasuke he saw the flesh wrap around him, making Itachi let go. You're both dead, no one has ever escaped from his stomach. Suddenly the flesh began to wrap around the two nin's legs, But they managed to break free and began a mad dash to the end of the hallway while a wall of flesh came charging at them. You do know we are heading straight for a wall. Kisum said this as he looked at Itachi only to see his right eye begin to bleed. Oh, I see. Kisum pulled back and positioned himself right behind Itachi. Amaterasu, illuminating heaven. Itachi whispered as the area he was looking at erupted into black fire. Jiraiya couldn't see anything because of the wall of flesh, but he did hear something. A loud explosion could be heard which made Jiraiya pull the flesh back, revealing a hole in the flesh surrounded by black flames. Impossible, no Kaiten is strong enough to burn through this toad's stomach. Jiraiya thought, amazed as he slowly pulled out a scroll and sealed the flames inside. You okay, Naruto? Jiraiya turned to see Naruto looking at Sasuke with sad eyes, but before Jiraiya could speak he was promptly kicked in the face by Guy. Guy was smiling, but not until he saw who he kicked. I'm so sorry, I thought you were the enemy. Guy apologized to the toad hermit. Well, how about you check before you decide to kick people in the face? Jiraiya was bleeding from his nose and he didn't look all that happy. But besides that, we need you to take Sasuke to the hospital in Konoha immediately. Guy nodded his head and grabbed Sasuke before jumping away. You know he didn't mean to. Naruto said as he looked at Jiraiya with a smile. Shut up. Jiraiya yelled out at Naruto. Besides, what did I tell you about not stirring up trouble? I can't protect you all the time. Yeah, because you're too busy being a pervert. Naruto said back at Jiraiya, who looked slightly offended. I am not a pervert. Jiraiya said as he stood proudly. I am a mega pervert. Jiraiya turned to see Naruto walking away. My point exactly. Naruto said with a smile, making Jiraiya grit his teeth as he went to go catch up with the blonde boy. XXX. Kakuheiki was sitting on a bed clenching and unclenching his fist. Finally, I think my strength is coming back. Kakuheiki said to himself, but got an answer from the doorway. That's good, you're going to need every last drop. Kakuheiki turned to see the old man staring at him with soft eyes. Onanami, demon wave. Kakuheiki said this with both happiness and confusing in his voice. It's good to see you again, my old friend, but what is it that you need from me? Onanami just smiled even more and sat down on the chair. A new Uzumaki has appeared and I've taken great care trying to make sure he's safe. For the first time in a year he sounded just like an old man. But I can feel my time drawing ever closer. I need someone to watch him and bring him here when my time is near. That is where you, Ishiki, and Denpa come in. So when the time comes you want us to capture him. Kakuheiki looked very hesitant to capturing a someone, but what Onanami said next eased his mind. No, we don't need that kind of attention. Onanami then reached into his robes and pulled out a scroll. But if you show this to the current Hokage, then we'll be able to take Naruto without any resistance. Kakuheiki grabbed the scroll just as the old man was sent into a fit of coughs and spitting out a little blood. Kakuheiki went to help him, but he waved him down. Okay, but what if they don't let him go? Stark waited for Onanami to regain his breath. Let us hope it doesn't come to that. When Onanami looked Kakuheiki in the eye, Kakuheiki knew exactly what they would do. Kakuheiki sighed and leaned back into the side of the wall right behind his bed. Yeah, I don't think they'll take too kindly to us if we do that. Kakuheiki said this with a mild smile that made Onanami chuckle. Even after all these years you still haven't changed, have you? Onanami said this in more of a statement than anything. Kakuheiki just shrugged as he turned and laid down on the bed and fell asleep. Onanami's smile disappeared and was replaced with a worried frown as he looked out the window. Just survive for a little bit longer, Naruto. XXX. Hell no. Tsunade yelled out with a red color to her cheeks. Jiraiya just sighed as both Shizune and Naruto just looked with confused looks. Why would I want to be Hokage? Whoever gets that job is being sent to death. Our sensei should have known better than to take up the mantle again. Tsunade was too busy talking to notice the Naruto grabbing the table with such force that it began to crack. I mean, looked at what happened to all the other Hokages, all of them died to protect that village. Sarutobi was brave, I'll give him that, but he was. She never finished as a chunk of table was thrown and hit in the face. Everyone turned to see a Naruto glaring at Tsunade with angry with a chunk of his table missing. Why, you little fucking. You're pathetic. Naruto said this as he stood up and turned to leave, leaving the shocked group behind him, but before he got a few feet away he turned his head around to see Tsunade getting out of the booth. Don't fight me. Naruto said this with force in his voice that made everyone stop. You spit on the name Hokage like it is nothing but a title. I'll let you in on a little secret. The name Hokage means you're the strongest, but it also means you are willing to sacrifice yourself to save your village. Someone like you who loathes in self-pity doesn't deserve to be called Hokage or be a member of Konoha. I on the other hand am willing to put my life on the line to protect the people of Konoha even though they don't like me. So go back to your pathetic life and let us go about in finding a much more deserving individual. Jiraiya and Shizune both looked at Naruto as if he just lost his mind. Tsunade actually glared so hard at Naruto everyone in the bar thought he was going to burst into flames. Take that back, you brat. Tsunade approached Naruto, who turned fully around and glared back. Fine, let's make a bet since you're so fond of making them. Naruto said and didn't give Tsunade enough time to speak. If you beat me then I'll apologize, but if I win then you come back to Konoha. I thought you said I wasn't worthy. Tsunade said with smirk. Our mission is to bring you back to Konoha. What happens next is up to the council. Naruto stated plainly. Tsunade just shook her head and smiled. Fine, but just to prove I'm not going to lose I'll throw in my necklace. Naruto looked at the necklace and just shrugged. So do we have a deal? Tsunade glared and walked outside, making sure to hit Naruto in the shoulder with a chakra-infused arm. Naruto was spun, making him turn completely around facing the door, surprising him. She is strong. Naruto actually began to sweat as he followed the woman outside. Naruto, you fool. Jiraiya gritted his teeth as he literally threw himself at the door to get outside to make sure his student didn't die. Jiraiya got outside just as Naruto was thrown into a side of a building, leaving a crater in the wall. Why don't you give up? You can't beat me. Tsunade smirked, but frowned when Naruto just picked himself out of the rubble and glared at her. Because I don't know how to give up. Naruto stood up fully while he spat out some blood. I am Naruto Uzumaki and I'm going to be Hokage one day. Tsunade's eyes widened as she saw an image of both Dan and her brother. Naruto noticed this and decided to act. He placed his hands together and created two clones and charged the distracted woman, but just as he got within range and was pulling out his seal, she blasted both the clones and Naruto with a punch to the ground. She looked up and watched as the two clones disappeared into smoke, but what shocked her was when Naruto disappeared as well. Where did he? Tsunade was snapped out of her thoughts when she heard a buzzing sound. When she turned around she got the shock of a lifetime. Naruto was holding a blue spinning ball with seals all over his right hand and was smiling like a fox. You lose. Naruto slammed the sphere into Tsunade's back and watched as the sphere started to grind away. Rasengan. Tsunade was launched forward and slammed into the building in front of her. Don't you ever spit on the name Hokage. Naruto just watched as the rubble gently fell on top of Tsunade's glaring form. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.